Hey guys, it's Alex Serpentine here, back again with a new video series about Michael teachings. This is the goals series of videos from Michael teachings. So the goals are the overarching theme of our lives that we choose in each life. So in our series of lives, in each life we have an overarching goal, which is the main focus that we have, and there's 7 goals. So I'm going to talk about reevaluation in this video, and I'll have 6 other videos because there's 7 different goals. And I also have a test that you can take that'll be in the description of all these videos, including this one, that will help you determine which goal that you're living through in this life. So yeah, let's get into it. This is reevaluation, which is about retreating, reflecting, and healing. So this slide right here is the percentage of population for each of the goals on the planet. So we're looking at reevaluation right now. And if you see, reevaluation is that light yellow one, and it's 1% of the population. It's not a very common one because it's more like retreating from life and reflecting on things. So it's the least common goal that's ever chosen. You can see some other ones like growth and acceptance are much more common, 40% for growth and 30% for acceptance. But it's really common if somebody has the goal of reevaluation that they might have it paired with growth since it's on the same axis. If you notice, they're both these yellow goals. So sometimes people will be sliding to a reevaluation from growth, which is a good way to go from jumping into new experiences, having a lot of experiences, to retreating from life and taking a break and resting. So let's get into reevaluation. So here's an image I'm using for a reevaluation. It's a cabin out in the woods, all separate from the activity of life. You can think about like Walden in the pond, like Henry David Thoreau kind of thing, where he retreats. He has his cabin out in the woods and he lives out there. Also, the big reflection, other ways of looking at reevaluation are people who have disabilities. It really limits their capability of things, so they focus more internally on different issues or on their intellect or different things like that. But basically, it's kind of like a retreat from life. So this is the image I'm using for all these slides. So as an overview, reevaluation is about stepping back from life's noise to process, reflect, and reset. It's often a time of simplicity, introspection, and working through deeper life challenges. This goal helps resolve patterns and unfinished karma from past lives. So usually there's if you have a lot of complications from past lives, like a lot of difficult karma or different experiences or emotions that are really difficult or energies that you're dealing with, the reevaluation goal lets you come into this life to reflect on those and integrate these different things and process all this past life stuff. So that's kind of why it's chosen. Key traits are a strong need to withdraw from the busyness of life, feeling limited by circumstances that force reflection and healing, and there's a deep inner focus with less emphasis on external success or validation. So these people are not going to be really well known in the popular sphere very often. Sometimes they are. Like Nietzsche is an example of this. He has a growth with reevaluation. I'm going to mention it later too. So he's sliding through reevaluation, and he's retreating from life a lot, but he actually has a lot to provide in terms of his ability to reflect on things. Even though he had a lot of health issues and stuff, his writing was still really impactful. But usually people in this goal are not very well known because they retreat from life. Strengths and talents for reevaluation people. They're excellent at simplifying complex situations. They're deeply introspective and capable of profound self-awareness. They find clarity and peace and stillness and simplicity. Like I was saying, like Henry David Thoreau, like going into nature focusing on the bare essentials of life, trying to find the core most important things that so without any distractions. That's basically reevaluation. Challenges and growth areas for reevaluation are struggles with isolation or feeling stuck, difficulty navigating external pressures or expectations, and learning to see limitations as opportunities for inner growth. So, like I was saying, it's actually very common that somebody who is in reevaluation will have some kind of severe disability of some kind that prevents them from being more active in life or moving around. Like they will be like tied to a wheelchair or dealing with severe health issues that they have to reflect on things. But that kind of helps focus your efforts on more of an intellectual plane of things. So that's very common for people in reevaluation. Real life applications, taking time off work to focus on healing and self care, downsizing or simplifying life to prioritize what truly matters, and choosing a quieter, more reflective lifestyle to process inner experiences. Some famous examples of this are Helen Keller, who had like I think she had like three different disabilities. She was deaf and blind. I think she was like only able to use touch to learn things, basically. Um, but she overcame a profound limitations to find meaning and inspire others. So it was a different kind of life. You're kind of focusing on different issues when you're really disabled in that way. Some other examples are like Stephen Hawking. He was disabled too, and he was stuck in a wheelchair for most of his life, but that allowed him to focus on his scientific and philosophical explorations. Friedrich Nietzsche, like I said, he actually had the main goal of growth, but he was sliding to reevaluation. So he had a lot of health issues in his life, and it made it really difficult to write stuff. But he would like write in little sprints. Like he'd have like a paragraph that he'd write at a time, and he would condense all his ideas into that one paragraph. So he was kind of a different approach to things. But at the last part of his life, he was dealing with a lot of health issues where he couldn't really do much. So in the last 10 years of his life, he had to be taken care of by his sister. And then Henry David Thoreau, like I was saying, he retreated to a cabin for most of his life and was doing his writings and stuff and reflections in that approach. So that's some examples. Some reflection questions to figure out if you have reevaluation. Do you feel life is asking you to slow down and focus inward? Have circumstances forced you to simplify or retreat? And do you find meaning in quiet reflection or stepping back from external demands? If these are really prominent in your experience, then you might have reevaluation, but it's not very common. Like I said, it's like 1% of the population has reevaluation as their main goal. It's the least common one. It's more common that you would have the goal of growth sliding to reevaluation. So you might be able to relate to this if you do have the goal of growth, and that's growth is the most common goal. So there's it's common for it happens sometimes where people will slide to the opposite goal. If you'll notice when I talk through all these goals, they're paired together. Like there's discrimination and acceptance. Discrimination is saying no, acceptance is saying yes. And then for this one, reevaluation is focusing on past life issues and healing and taking a break and relaxing kind of. And then growth is like pushing to really have a lot of activity and experiences in this life. So that's kind of how it works, where you slide to these different sides. So if you have the goal of growth, you're going to have some times where you're going to be taking a break from things, relaxing, focusing inward before you jump into the activity again. So that's probably how you would be relating to a reevaluation, given that 40% of the people have the goal of growth, which is the paired goal for this goal. So that's it for that one slide. Personal growth tips: embrace the time and space life gives you to reflect and heal. Focus on small, meaningful steps rather than big, sweeping changes, and find joy in simplicity. Declutter your life and mind. So, in summary, the reevaluation is about slowing down, reflecting, and simplifying to resolve deeper life patterns. Strengths are introspection, clarity, and peace and simplicity. Challenges are isolation, feeling stuck, and navigating limitations. And the overall takeaway for this is that sometimes life asks us to pause so we can hear what truly matters. So that's it for a reevaluation. Like I said, I have a test that you can take to figure out what your goal is. It'll be in the description of this video and on my Linktree, along with a bunch of other tests for Michael teachings that you can take. I have, a bunch of series of videos about, this one's about the goals, but I also have the roles, the soul ages, and the obstacles, all the main important parts for Michael teachings. And you can take tests on my Linktree and learn what all your various characteristics are from these different parts of Michael teachings. So you can check that out. I'm going to have 6 more videos about the goals. And if you like this content, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.